All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. My name is TJ, and I am currently in pursuit of a physical education degree here at SUNY Cortland.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. My name's Harry. I'm a physical education major here at SUNY Cortland. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, a coach, or just someone who wants to understand what helps kids thrive, not just academically, but as human beings, this episode is for you. We'll break down what SEL actually means, why it's more important than ever in today's world, and how we could use it to build stronger relationships, healthier classrooms, and more resilient students.
Hi everyone, I'm Zach. I'm a physical education major at SUNY Cortland as well, and I'm ready to talk about some topics that I find very important.
What's up, everyone? My name is Luke. I'm also a student at SUNY Cortland, and as you know, we're going to talk about social emotional learning, or SEL, and let's get into it.
All right. So today, like Luke just mentioned, we're talking about something that really affects all of us, social and emotional learning, mainly focusing on grades 9 to 12. It's all about how we manage our emotions, deal with stress, and build stronger relationships. And let's be honest, it's something we could all use a little more of at the high school level. Today, we're not just going to dive into why SEL is so important for high schoolers, but also especially how you can deal with all the pressures and challenges that come with these years. So, with that, let's jump right in.
This is actually one of the most important things we can learn as we grow up. It's not about memorizing facts or passing tests. It's about figuring out how to handle life. SEL is all about understanding ourselves, managing our emotions, building strong relationships, and making thoughtful, healthy decisions. And let's be honest, stuff we deal with every single day, thinking about it, how do I stay calm when everything feels overwhelming? How do you bounce back from a mistake? How do you deal with conflict, set boundaries, or speak up for what you need? These are all SEL skills, and they could help us move through school, friendships, family dramas, and all curveballs life throws at us, with more confidence and less chaos. I'm going to pass it to TJ as he explains social emotional learning a bit more.
All right, so let's kick things off with a big question. What is social emotional learning, right? A lot of people don't know what that is, or SEL for short. It's something we hear more and more about, but what does it actually mean?
Yeah, so TJ, this is a great place to start. So basically, SEL is the process of learning how to understand and manage your emotions, how to set personal goals, and how to make responsible decisions. But it's also about being able to recognize others' feelings, show empathy, and build strong, healthy relationships. It's like learning key life skills that they don't teach you in class.
Yeah, and if you ever had to deal with group projects, family drama, or even just a stressful test, you've already had moments where SEL comes into play. It's not just about academics, it's about your ability to handle real-life situations. Like, how do you react when you're frustrated or when you disagree with someone, but still have to work with them?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a group called CASEL, or the Collaborative for Academics, Social, and Emotional Learning. They're kind of the big dogs when it comes to SEL. They break it into 5 core competencies: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. Those 5 things are really the foundation for navigating not just school, but life in general.
Yeah, and let's unpack what he just said for a second. Take self-awareness. That's knowing what you're feeling and why, right? So if you're in a bad mood, let's say, instead of a good mood, and instead of snapping at someone or shutting yourself down, you're actually able to pause and just say, like, okay, I'm stressed, but, I didn't sleep well, or I've got a lot going on. So that's really powerful and can help you really get through a day when you're having a tough time.
Totally. And self-management is taking that awareness and using it to stay in control. Like for me, I used to freak out before big exams, but once I learned how to recognize the signs, sweaty palms, racing thoughts, and used breathing techniques or time management tools, things got way more manageable, and I felt everything get more comfortable.
Yeah, it's completely agreeable. And then there's also social awareness, which is all about understanding what other people might be going through. It's like the small things, like noticing when a friend is acting off and being able to check in, or like just even knowing when to step back and listen to someone that's just trying to give advice. Because I feel like throughout our whole life, one time through our life, we've at least had this one time where we see a friend struggling or not getting what they want, and You just have to talk to them and have a simple conversation based off how they're doing.
Yeah, and exactly. And when you put all of that together, what he just said, it feeds right into like relationship skills and how to communicate, maybe resolve certain conflicts you have in your life, and especially building trust with certain people, whether it's friends, classmates, or even teachers that you have in school.
And then the last one, responsible decision making. That's the big one, right? Making good choices even when there's pressure. Thinking through the consequences, it's huge, especially in high school when stuff gets real.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so like when we say SEL is very important, we're not just throwing it around like it doesn't mean anything. We're talking about helping people out, which is really special to all of us, especially students. You know, building the kind of mindset and emotional tools that can literally change these kids' lives. You know what I mean? So from improving mental health to building better relationships, like this stuff really matters.
Yeah, for sure. If more people had a solid SEL foundation, I think a lot more conflicts and stress we see every day inside and outside of school would be way easier to handle, and I think that less people would be stressed out and like getting into arguments and fights if they just knew how to talk about their emotions.
You know what, Zach? I couldn't agree more. And honestly, it's something that everyone can benefit from. Doesn't matter if you're a straight A student or struggling to get through the week. SEL helps you grow and prosper as a student.
Yes, I love that, Harry. And so whether you've heard of SEL before, or if this is your first time digging into it, like stick around. We're going to break it all down, give you some real life examples, and talk about how to actually use these skills day to day. But for now, we're going to take a quick pause, and we'll be back in a couple minutes.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to discuss the role of social and emotional learning in high school. So high school is just such a unique place, like such a unique time in your life. You're figuring out who you are, what you believe in, who your friends are, and at the same time, you're juggling homework, sports, jobs, relationships, and other family things. And that's a bunch of stuff. It's a lot. And like you said earlier, learning social emotional learning, or SEL, can seriously help us deal with all of that. There's an actual study by Brackett and Rivers from 2014 that shows students who actively practice SEL skills tend to have better academic outcomes, stronger emotional control, and more positive relationships. Think about that. Just learning to be better understanding of ourselves and others, we can actually do better in school and feel more balanced overall. One of the biggest ways SEL helps is by giving students strategies to manage stress. School can get overwhelmingly fast, like tests, deadlines, group projects, college prep, you name it. There's a bunch of things that are just slammed right on you, especially in high school. But if you know how to recognize that, and when you're stressed and when you need someone to talk to, and you've got the tools to calm yourself down and refocus, you're gonna have a way easier time keeping up than if you wouldn't understand social emotional learning. You're not spending all your energy panicking and just freaking out about all the heavy workloads and just all that. You feel present, focused, and ready to get stuff done.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that high school really isn't a drama-free zone. Whether it's stuff with friends, group projects that come down to the wire and you have to meet up with people, or just general pressure to fit in, it can get intense. Social emotional learning teaches us how to navigate all that. If I can understand what I'm feeling and also try to recognize what someone else might be going through, that changes everything. It helps with making friends, solving conflicts, and even just being a better communicator. I've definitely had moments where I judged someone too fast, only to realize later that they were going through something I didn't really know about. SEL helps you pause and ask, what's really going on here, instead of just reacting with frustration or assumptions. And when we get better at understanding the why behind behavior, our own and other people's, it opens up the door to healthier, more supportive relationships. Honestly, just makes life less stressful.
Totally. And you know what? I think one of the biggest things SEL has helped me with is emotional awareness. There's so many times where we feel angry, anxious, or embarrassed and not really know why. And that could lead to making snappy decisions, snapping at a friend, shutting down someone during class, or even procrastinating assignments. But when you're more in tune with your emotions, When you can name what you're feeling and recognize what triggered it, you've got way more control over how you respond. Instead of blowing up or spiraling, you can take a step back, see the situation, breathe, and handle things in a more productive way. And let's be honest, that's not just helpful in school, that's helpful everywhere in life. There's actually research to back this up too. The CASEL framework, CASEL stands for Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, shows that when students build emotional regulation skills, it leads to fewer behavior problems and better academic performance. It's not just a nice idea, it's proven to work.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is that learning SEL skills build on each other. Like once you start practicing them, it gets way easier to stay calm during tough situations, to communicate clearly when something's bothering you, like I mentioned earlier, and like to work through certain conflicts without them letting get to your emotions. Those are the kinds of skills that make a difference, like not just in high school, but like throughout college, careers, and relationships down the road, like your whole entire life. So like that's why it's super important.
Yeah, and I mean, absolutely, I agree. I like when we talk about the role of SEL in high schools, we're not just talking about, being a nicer person or feeling better per se. We're talking about real tools that help you handle the pressure of your personal life, improving your grades and strengthening friendships and growing into the person like you really want to be. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick pause again, and we'll be back with you in just a minute. All right, welcome back, everybody. Now we're going to be going over the connection between SEL and academic success, which is very important. So, there's a really strong connection between these two things, and a lot of times when we think about doing well in school, we focus on things like IQ, test scores, or how much someone studies to actually do good on certain exams. But, research actually shows that how well we manage our emotions, behavior, and mindset can actually have a bigger impact on school performance than just intelligence by itself. So there's this study by Duckworth and Seligman from 2005 that actually found self-discipline is a stronger predictor of academic performance than IQ, which is crazy to think about. But just think about that. Being able to stay focused, controlling impulses, and pushing through distractions really matters more than how naturally smart someone is. That's where SEL comes in. It helps just really build onto those skills.
Yeah, and honestly, like that's pretty wild when you think about it. Like we're so used to hearing about grades and GPA, but no one really talks about how like your emotions, like your emotional state affects your ability to learn. Like I know for me, like if I'm anxious, if like I'm overwhelmed, I'm not really absorbing anything in class. I'm usually just, I don't know, like trying to distract myself on YouTube, I don't know, just like on my phone. But like I'm just like, yeah, like stressed out, like not thinking clearly, like not like really absorbing all the information. But when I've learned like to manage my stress, like breathing techniques, time management, or even just recognizing like when I need a break, I'm way more productive, way more focused. So it's not about like just being a genius, it's just like being in the right mindset to actually use what you know, and like what social and emotional learning gives you, like it gives you that edge.
Yeah, exactly, Luke. SEL teaches us things like self-discipline, emotional regulation, staying motivated when stuff gets hard, and learning how to bounce back from setbacks. That's huge, not just for school, but for life in general. Like, think about all those late nights studying for exams, or when you bomb a quiz and still have to show up the next day with your head up. That takes emotional strength, not just brain power. And honestly, these skills that stick with you, if we build these habits now in high school, it's going to make college, work, and relationships so much easier. You're not just learning math or history, you're learning how to show up even when life throws curveballs.
Yeah, and with that being said, it's like SEL just gives you a mental toolkit by itself. Like you're not just reacting to stress or failure, you're really equipped to handle it and stay calm and to keep going and pushing through. And studies keep backing this up, you know what I mean? And schools that integrate SEL into their curriculum really do see improvements, not just in behavior, but also in attendance, test scores, and overall academic achievements by all their students. So if anyone's still thinking SEL is just about being nice or feeling good, think again. It's directly linked to how well we perform at school and more importantly, how prepared we are for life beyond it.
Well said, TJ. Well, we're going to be getting to the next subject, practical applications of social emotional learning in high school. So now we know that how important social emotional learning is. Let's talk about how we can actually apply it in an educational setting. Like, what does it look like day to day? There are some schools that have full-on SEL programs built into their schedule. You might have something like an advisory period where students take time to check in emotionally, set personal or academic goals, talk through challenges, and even practice mindfulness or gratitude exercises. It might sound simple, but just taking a few minutes to reflect can seriously shift your mindset for the rest of the day.
Yeah, and honestly, like a lot of it doesn't have to come from a formal class. A huge part of SEL happens throughout the school culture. And that starts with the teachers. When teachers model self-awareness and emotional control, it sets an example for the students. If a teacher handles a stressful situation calmly instead of screaming out of their mind and yelling or shutting down, it shows us how to deal with the pressure in a healthier way. It's one of those actions speak louder than words, kind of metaphor kind of things. If they're showing us patience, empathy, and good communication, it makes it way easier for us to practice those things.
Yeah, and I've seen schools do really cool stuff with peer mentoring programs, like upperclassmen mentoring freshmen, not just academically, but socially and emotionally too. It builds leadership, empathy, and gives everyone a chance to feel heard. It's not just the younger students who benefit. The mentors grow a ton from it too. They learn how to really listen, offer support, and be role models, which are all huge parts of SEL. Plus, it builds stronger connections across grade levels, and it makes school feel more like a community.
Well said, Zach. Yeah, and it also makes it easier to talk about things like mental health, which can still kind of feel awkward or taboo sometimes. When you have programs like peer mentoring or group check-ins, it opens the door to normalize those conversations and make everyone feel more comfortable. For example, hey, it's okay to feel stressed. Here's how I can help with it. How do you cope? That kind of honesty and support is powerful for students.
Yeah, and Harry, I totally agree. And there are other creative ways to practice SEL too, not just those, group discussions in class that really go beyond just the textbook can really be great for everyone, especially when teachers ask reflective questions or encourage collaboration between all the students together. Service projects are also another awesome one. When students volunteer or do some community-based projects, they're not just helping others, they're also really building empathy, teamwork and purpose. So yeah, those are all really good core SEL skills in my opinion. Even something like working some group work in a science or English class, let's say, if it's set up with intention, can teach us the students, just really how to compromise, deal with some disagreements, and just value everyone else's ideas. Because some of these kids in these schools can disagree about a lot of things, and it becomes a problem for the teachers. So it's all about giving students opportunities to really apply SEL in real situations and not just learning about it in theory.
Yeah, no, that's an amazing point. Another thing I want to get into is sports and extracurricular activities are huge for this too. Coaches, club leaders, captains, they play a big role in promoting emotional growth. They're supposed to be the leaders in outside school activities, especially if you're really into athletics. The captains are supposed to be there, make sure you're doing good on and off the field. I've definitely learned much about communication and perseverance from being on a team as I have in a classroom.
Same. I've played in football and lacrosse games where it's a high stakes game and you feel like the whole world is watching you. Or if you've been on a performance team or on a club event and you have to work with other people and you have to manage the pressure of everything. Working with other people sometimes doesn't always go the way you want it to, but you have to figure out how to stay focused on your goals. And that's where the SEL goes into action and it helps calm you down and get the job at hand done.
You know, and it doesn't always have to be big things either. Even small daily routines or changes to your routines, like journaling for 5 minutes, writing down your thoughts, setting a goal for each morning, or even having space in the classroom to take a quick break when emotions get intense. It could all make huge differences. It shows that our mental and emotional well-being matters just as much as academics.
Yeah, exactly, Harry. I mean, the biggest takeaway here is that SEL isn't just something we learn once and, move on from and shove it out of the way. It's a skill we really practice over time, and the more chances we get to apply it in real life situations, whether through mentoring or class projects, sports, or everyday interactions, the stronger those skills become, in my opinion. And honestly, it makes school feel more supportive and more connected and more human. So with that being said, we're going to take another short break, and we'll see you in a quick minute. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We've been over a lot today. So, to wrap things up here, SEL is really important for us to know as future high school educators. It helps with our mental health, academic success, and relationships as well. So learning how to manage our emotions and understand others is really key to not just surviving high school, but being able to thrive in it.
Great way to wrap up, TJ. It's not just about us. It benefits everyone, including the students too. When schools focus on SEL, they create a more positive, supportive environment for all students.
Yeah, and I think if schools really focus on social emotional learning, it's going to make a huge difference for future generations of students, both academically and emotionally.
Yeah, for sure, Luke. SEL isn't just a word to take lightly and throw around. It's something that really helps us grow as people. It's something we need to take seriously, not just for our grades, but also for our overall well-being.
Yeah, exactly. It's something you can't just take lightly. I agree. Absolutely. Thanks, guys, and thanks to everyone for listening to this podcast. We hope this conversation gave you a better understanding of SEL and really why it matters. If you want to dive deeper, be sure to check out our research that we mentioned before, including Castle, Duckworth, and Seligman, and Brackett and Rivers. Catch you next time.